Today I want to talk about the right arm in the downswing and through impact, giving you more of an insight into how to control your club path, your angle of attack, and ultimately your ball compression. Let's get to it. I've had quite a lot of you saying, Stuart, I am applying all of your grip theories, your foot action and your rotation in the golf swing, but I'm still having a bit of a problem with coming over the top and hitting the ball, arguably a little bit left, but equally you could be hitting it right as well. The right arm, as I've mentioned on many occasions, has been a slight issue in downswings. Not going to go over old ground, but the tucking of the right elbow is a load of old garbage. And today I will absolutely lock you in with why it is. The right arm, because the hand is below the lead arm, as we set the golf club, this right arm is going to have to fold. If it did not fold, we would have very little in the way of wrist set. And the amount of set that you can create in your wrist action does come down to partly how much flexion you have in that right arm in your backswing. So the right arm is always going to flex. On the way down, depending on your grip, there she is, we're only about a minute in and I'm mentioning the grip, but depending on your grip, which orientates your face, will dictate how much your right arm wants to fold, how much your club wants to be submissive for you to approach the golf ball and still hit a draw. So the flexion of the right arm in the downswing creates the load of the golf club, creates the set of the golf club, which is crucial for power. The more power, the more the right arm is going to have loaded in your downswing. And we see astronomical amounts of load of the right elbow depending on where the face orientates in a lot of golfers. Now in transition, this right arm, if it's working well, is trying to load because of the submissive nature of the load of the golf club. So therefore, when we've got this right arm loading and flexing, that handle is trying to move that side of the head. And if you've all worked on trying to shallow out your golf swing, and you will have seen a couple of videos here and here that I've done that covers the shallowing in your downswing, you will appreciate that the head is trying to move back of the grip. And so that being said, whether you believe or not, and hopefully by now you believe that the handle does move forwards, that handle moving forwards and that loading of the shaft actually is pulling my right arm in the downswing into external rotation by simply the effect of me moving the handle quickly. So from a face-on perspective, the handle moving quickly and loading the shaft loads the arm towards me. From a perspective of down the line, now that that club head is moving back of the handle, it's now moving my hand and my forearm into external rotation. So the weight of the head, because I've gone on about the heavy end and the light end, always playing a huge role on the golfer. When I am loading the golf club in my downswing, which is this motion here, from a face-on perspective, the handle's moving forwards. I'm now going to turn myself around. Look at how that right arm is trying to move because of the way I'm loading the golf club in the downswing from that perspective. And then when we think about how the arm loads in this perspective, we've got two forces going on the hand and the arm. One is towards the body, flexion of the arm, and the other is the rotation of the forearm. So when you have a golf club, as I referenced in my most recent video, this one up here, when the golf club starts to work back behind the handle in your downswing, if you are excessively encouraging the right arm to continue to tuck and work in, you're going to really create problems down through impact because you are going to progressively make the face open in an effort to get that face acting on the ball from the inside. I've done enough videos that talk about how the path works to the golf ball. And the path line will always find a good spot if the face is consistently close to the path. Your path line will always want to return back to the ball from the inside if your face to path value, box on the right hand side, is negative. So the good grip, which I go on about incessantly, and I know you're probably sick and tired of me saying it, this video up here, will fix the face with a good hold. Now we can start to work on form and function of working these levers. Now I'm jumping around here, but I'm giving you insight into why the right arm must not be encouraged to flex and tuck. It needs to actually combat the flex and tuck, most notably down through strike. So if we now start to change our beliefs on that club path is not because of how much I'm tucking my arm, but actually where I am in space, the more my pressure is in the right heel and in the toe of the left foot in the way down, the more my path line will settle from the inside. That dictates the path, 8 degrees from the inside, and not my tuck. I can now put down the belief that the more I tuck my arm, the more I get inside the golf ball. The more we can now put some form and function in this right arm. So how the right arm starts to work down through strike is that it starts to load and then it starts to unload. And this unload of the right arm, the straightening and the pressure of the right hand pushing down is crucial, and I'll explain why. I've got the trusty broom out. Yes, folks, I know you've been missing it, so I've got to back out. The reason why the broom is so useful is because of how much weight it carries. And with the weight that the broom carries, as I start to make some swings with just my right arm here, and I now really start to feel how the weight of this broom is going to load my arm. Look how my right arm's loading. If I complete and continue with that tuck, look how the face comes back. Now I push my arm straight and I turn my palm to the floor, which is very similar to the position it is at address with a good grip, again, in my grip video. So if my palm is down and my left palm is down, can you see that I've actually got a bit of a kink in my right wrist and I've got a little bit of a kink in my left wrist, and my right arm is now long, as opposed to tuck, lift, bow, crap. This is where we're being directed and pushed towards. Hand down, crease, long with forearm. Pressure. Does that now look like pressure through strike? Or does this look like pressure through strike? You tell me. Comment in the box below. Crap, pressure. Crap, pressure. Up to you. So now when I get the broom, because it's heavy, now I start to feel how that right arm lengthening, and I've got to be very careful not to take the family jewels out here, the pressure down on the grip, goodness me, I come out with some jargon, getting the right arm long, internally rotating the forearm. Can you now see how that lines that up? Now, if you've been a believer that the head swinging out is the cause of an outside-in swing path, that is why you believe that tucking the elbow in is the answer, because it does invariably kick the head back, but it makes the face miles open. So if you got yourself a broom and you started to make some swings with a very heavy broom, you wouldn't tuck your arm for very long if you wanted to hit that ball straight. Watch what I tend to do now when I start making these swings with my right arm. There's the submissive nature, there's the lengthening of my arm. There's the submissive nature of my arm, there's the lengthening of my arm. Now I know, you see enough golfers through strike, they've got tucked elbows and hands lifted. I even saw an image of Justin Thomas on a very popular AI tool of him through strike with his handle right up in the air. Certainly not an impact condition that I would want to encourage. So you can orientate this handle, lift it up, tuck it in, and change your wrist angles, bow your wrist to line the face up. It will corrupt your dynamic loft of the golf club though. So there is ways around this, folks. I'm not saying that this is the only way to play the game, but I think this is more functional. Because if you are a golfing elbow, have a golfing elbow as a problem in your game, or tennis elbow, that forearm rotation through strike that you're having to offset an open face is the cause of that. So in the right hand with the broom, if you've got golfer's elbow, tennis elbow, don't be doing this drill because it will make it worse to start with. So there's the submissive nature of the right arm, there's the lengthening of the right arm. Submissive nature, there's the lengthening. Now let's get a golf club back out. Back with my 7-iron, and I now start to feel. There's the tuck, there's the lengthening. There's the submissive nature. There's the pressure on the handle. There's the pressure on the handle. I do exactly the same through strike. There's the softening, handle forwards, club loading, there's the lengthening. Lots of angle of attack, handle rose up, path from the inside, angle of attack 5 down. Same again. There's the load, there's the pressure on the grip. There's the load, there's the pressure on the grip. Path from the inside, good angle of attack, face goes to path. It's all just lined up, but I am in no way, shape or form encouraging tuck, tuck, elbow, elbow. So the lengthening of this arm, the softening, the handle forwards, the pressure down. Look at the arms, both arms are long. That now allow me to line it all back up. So this right arm of feeling how it can go soft, long, and around. Soft, handle forwards, soft, pressure, 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 which allows that hand to put force on the grip, start to make both hands feel like they've got crease on them, down through strike, which if done well, I think you're going to be playing some pretty darn good golf. Hopefully that's given you some insights into how to make this right arm load and unload. No tucking, pressure on the handle with the right hand. If you're tired of paying too much for your premium leather golf gloves, head over to gxgolfgloves.com. These are gloves trusted by tour players and elite amateurs alike. Use my code GOODCOACHING to receive 10% off your next order. Go try them out. You won't be disappointed. That's really going to make lots of great things come at you with your golf game. Thank you so much for watching. If you have got something from this video, do consider subscribing while you're here. And that, my friends, you guessed it, is good coaching.